Welcome to the Georgia Dome at Atlanta. This is Sunday Night Football, the all-time Falcons and the all-time Eagles. Glad you're with us. Sunday night featuring the greatest Eagles and the greatest Falcons for week 2 of the season. Philadelphia on the heels of a riveting win in comeback fashion against the Rams. Deion Sanders in Atlanta was humiliated last week on the road in Chicago. To the field for the Falcons is Matty Ice, one of the clutch quarterbacks in franchise history, Matt Ryan. In fact, Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon on hand. Matt Ryan has the fourth most fourth quarter comebacks in NFL history. Now, of course, we know about the one fourth quarter choke job that Ryan and the Falcons had in 2016, but he was one of the most clutch QBs in the history of the game. Michael Turner on the call, and he's wrapped up just short of the marker. A gain of 9, about 9.5 on the play. Here's a look at the Atlanta offense. In the middle is Michael Turner, William Andrews, Tony Gonzalez, Roddy White, and the Hall of Famer on the left, Julio Jones.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the greatest comeback that you could have is the one that you don't have. And unfortunately, Matt Ryan, who played a very good Super Bowl, and I think it was Super Bowl 51, unfortunately is probably the best quarterback. He had the best performance to ever lose a Super Bowl. And I think we were all willing to and ready to congratulate the Falcons just one quarter too early.
Even less than that. Matt Ryan last week in the loss to Chicago did play relatively well. He finds the tight end Gonzalez, a gain of 16 and a first down.
And Tony Gonzalez is a guy who was really great in Kansas City and then marched around all the way to Atlanta to finish off his career. He's a Hall of Famer, and we should never forget him.
Turner, a gain of 9 on the play. Tony Gonzalez was picked up by Atlanta in 2009 and finished his career with the most receiving yards in NFL history among tight ends. 6-time All-Pro and a perennial Pro Bowler from California. Glad you're with us. Nick Rice and Hank Cinnamon on hand. Opening drive for the all-time Falcons. Ryan, incomplete, hammered on the play by Brown. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia defense took a hit with a guy on the left out for a couple of months with injury. Brian Dawkins, guy on the right, Asante Samuel, Eric Allen, Chuck Bednarik, Reggie White. The defense is still very good, Hank, but does take a hit with Dawkins out.
It does, but you got to block Jerome Brown better or you're just going to get a mouthful of him. He'll never stop. He's got such a high motor.
Former first-round pick out of Miami. Ryan, incomplete.
And I guess in the modern era, you would definitely go for that tush push, but I guess they're going to kick a field goal.
This is Younghoe Koo from 52. Hold from Michael Vick. The kick is up, and Younghoe Koo hits it. And the opening drive ends with 3. Let's check out that outstanding kick again from the fourth most accurate kicker in NFL history, Hank. It's this guy, Younghoe Koo.
You don't even want to know what I call Younghoe Koo. It definitely is something that makes my wife really embarrassed for me.
Here we go. Randall Cunningham. I hope no jokes on this end of the court. You know what? Maybe I do hope. 80% completions, 227 yards and a touchdown. Nothing to snuff at, Hank. His ability to run the ball top-notch. He also had 51 yards rushing in the game last week. An all-around brilliant performance by the perennial Pro Bowler out of UNLV. Van Buren on the call, and he is buried at the line. Let's check out the starters for Philadelphia. Mike Quick returns to the lineup. He was hurt in the second half of the game against the Rams. McDonald's the other receiver. Retzlaff, Weaver, and Van Buren round out the offense. Philadelphia's offense gained 320 yards last week. A very strong performance against a good defense in the all-time Rams. Opening drive to this one on Sunday night. Van Buren the call. He gets a block and picks up 7 on the play. Atlanta's defense, well, they've got a couple of Hall of Fame caliber players too. On the left, Deion Sanders, the best of them all. Nobis, Humphrey, Tuggle, and Abraham. Atlanta, a tough challenge tonight for Philadelphia.
The Eagles were definitely a sluggish team in the first 3 quarters and really picked things up in the fourth where they were able to get a come-from-behind victory. Let's see if they can get it started quicker this time.
McCoy on the call. He's got enough for the first down. Now, Philadelphia had a hard time converting third downs. That was a big concern last week, 40% for the game, but the Eagles moved the sticks on their first drive. 3-0 Atlanta. Nick Rice, Hank Cinnamon, middle to first on Sunday night. Cunningham, first run of the game, and he's got the first down. Gain of 13, maybe 14 on the play.
It was definitely one of the biggest criticisms, not being able to get a lot of yards per carry. That was a big run by Randall Cunningham, and he definitely got a lot of yak on that one.
Inside run to McCoy, and he's buried at the line. Keith Brooking with the tackle.
Keith Brooking was a guy who I can say right now was one of the players in the league that I definitely didn't like, especially when he played for Dallas. He was one of those obnoxious guys that was up in everybody's face. But he had a very good career with both teams.
Cunningham loses the ball, but the snazzy number 69, Evan Mathis, recovers the fumble. A savvy heads-up play by the offensive lineman, Evan Mathis, a two-time Pro Bowler out of Alabama. Third down, Cunningham looks. He tucks it again, gets by the first defender, and gains 7 on the run, first down.
Smartly sliding on that play. You don't want to give up the ball, and you definitely don't want to be the one to give the ball up twice, because your offensive line is going to be really upset with you as they're trying to recover that fumble.
Cunningham nearly picked off. A couple of plays that very easily could have been turnovers, Hank.
Definitely. With that interception, kind of one of those plays where he probably should have thrown it out of bounds because the receiver was not open.
Cunningham to Retzlaff, who was hurt last week but is back in the game today, picks up 14 and a first down. Under a minute left, a methodical drive for Philadelphia, one of the more talented all-time offenses in the NFL. Toss to Van Buren, and the Hall of Famer gains 4 on the play. Another Hall of Fame lineman, Claude Humphrey, with the tackle.
And those are one of those plays to the outside, 3-4-yard plays that'll absolutely make teams go nuts if you keep running them and running them successfully.
Evan Mathis, who recovered the fumble, commits the false start there, and the Eagles will close the first quarter, second down at the Atlanta 25. Draw, McCoy caught in the backfield and taken down. Ray Buchanan closes the quarter with a tackle for loss. We played 8 minutes from Atlanta. The Falcons 3 and the Eagles 0. Second quarter coming up next. Welcome to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. The all-time Falcons, one of the only teams in the NFL to not have a Super Bowl championship at their disposal, against Philadelphia, who won the title in 2017. Jarrett with the sack, and the Eagles will settle for the long 52-yard field goal in a showdown of two great kickers. This is Akers from 52. On the right hash, the hold from reserve Donovan McNabb. It's up, and the kick from Akers is good.
That's one of those plays where if you're Randall Cunningham, you got to try to throw the ball out of your hand as quickly as possible, because sure, you got Akers, who's a great kicker, but that was like the beginning of the outside of his range.
They certainly love the result with the points on the board for Philadelphia. And we do it over again early in the second quarter. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, 7th on the all-time career passing yards list in the National Football League. Over 62,000 passing yards in his outstanding career in Atlanta. Michael Turner gains 1. Turner was there for a lot of the damage with Matt Ryan in the early 2000s, helping him get things going in Atlanta. And he quietly had a very strong career and earned the nod over guys like Gerald Riggs and Jamal Anderson. Turner gallops to the 24-yard line. White with the tackle.
Yeah, Michael Turner was a guy who started his career off as a reserve for LT on the Chargers. But then when he went to the Falcons with Mike Smith in 2008, he kind of made a name for himself as a starter.
Risen on the sideline, and He makes the catch, but not for much. You know, you can throw any great name at Andre Rison. Chris Berman had a lot of fun names for him, didn't he?
Bad Moon Rison. I think that was like his nickname was Bad Moon Rison. I don't really know why, but I imagine it's, well, because his last name is Rison and the moon rises. But he, like, you could say, like, in a certain colloquial term, he was bad because he was so good.
You know, he was so good, he was bad. And for Andre Rison, I got to say, that was a pretty bad decision to run a 1-yard route on 3rd and 6. And Atlanta went 3 and out. Cunningham throws it away. Incomplete.
Well, you can't really fault him. I mean, it's the play caller's fault and Matt Ryan for not finding somebody deeper. But hey, you know, he gets a reception. It gets on the stat sheet.
That's right. Rison had a lot of those in his days of the 90s with a couple different teams. McDonald beats Deion Sanders for 22. That is the headline showdown of the night. Deion Sanders, the Hall of Fame corner, arguably the greatest corner of all time. You know, Hank, I have a fun, opinion about him and McDonald. He hosts the catch in the first down. I know this sounds crazy, I think Rod Woodson's a little better. You can go Deion. I could go somewhere else. You can go a lot of different ways. Deion had very few interceptions. I know it's an island out there, but Deion, as a return man, makes him better. But his coverage very good. What are your thoughts, Hank?
Well, Tony Romo said it best one time. He said Deion Sanders was a great cover guy, but he was a horrible tackler. And of course, Deion Sanders took major offense to that.
That's right.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. And I think that it's kind of despicable and possibly, you know, a big shot at Deion Sanders' ego, the fact that he just got burned by a white guy.
Oh.
A short white guy, by the way. Mighty Mouse.
I might add. Well, if it makes you feel any better, that guy Tony Romo's buried on the depth chart in Dallas, so he's not necessarily going to get a chance to shine in this season nonetheless. First down to the 16-yard line following the run. Deion Sanders covering up Mike McDonald should be a great matchup too. Moore with the stop as the Eagles inch closer to the end zone. There's a look at Cunningham's running today.
You're about to call him Runningham because he's been doing a lot of Runninghams right here.
Been listening too much to Chris Berman. Wildcat Mike Quick to the outside and to the 11, brooking the stop. You know, Philadelphia, another issue was for a lot of the game last week of the Rams, they fell into third down situations, and now they're in the red zone against the pesky Atlanta defense. We'll see if they can convert. Wildcat and Van Buren is denied. Timeout Atlanta.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. You're running 2 Wildcat plays 2 times in a row when it hasn't really worked out that well for you. You got to use the arm of Cunningham. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe they don't trust his arm, but his arm seems fine.
Well, it was third downs last week and the red zone this week. Philadelphia had a chance to go up 14-3. Instead, they're up 6-3. Brent Grimes smoked by the 6'8" Harold Carmichael at the 24-yard line. Atlanta and this very talented offense led by a couple of guys familiar with each other, Roddy White and Julio Jones out wide. They played together in the early 2010s. Ryan throws instead to Turner for the gain of 7.
You got to be hurrying up here. You have time, but you need to get to the other side of the field.
Couple of timeouts and a little over a minute and a half to go. Here's Ryan under duress, and he's taken down. And a timeout called. Fletcher Cox on the sack.
Fletcher Cox came in big on that play. Nobody was blocking him, and he just sucked up Ryan right there.
Ryan going deep, and that pass is incomplete. Fletcher Cox, third of the all-time Eagles tackle for loss list, and all-decade teamer. First sack of the season for him, but he has been disruptive all year for Philadelphia. And Atlanta's Matthew Bosher will punt it away. End over end into the hands of Westbrook. He won't get by the first defender, taken down by number 36, Ken Reeves.
Brian Westbrook was always deadly whenever he got to return a punt. I remember one time when he was the starting running back, he returned a huge punt against the Seahawks, which ended up going for an interception on that drive. But he was always a great running back.
Well, I wonder if he was any better than Randall Runningham.
He was the original Randall Runningham.
That's right. That's his name for the year. It's official. He picks up the first down. That run from the quarterback gives him over 100 yards rushing this season. He already has about 300 yards passing on the year. He has just been an incredible two-way threat. I mean, Michael Vick, if he ever gets a run at Atlanta, we'll see if he can put up the numbers like this guy this year. Cunningham denied there by Grady Jarrett. 3rd and 6 yards to go. A little over 30 seconds left, and the Eagles have one timeout. 5-man rush. Cunningham tucks it again, and Cunningham's got it. Gain of 7.
Guess what? Runningham, doesn't matter. Everybody's open. I'm running the ball.
Boy, he is tucking it almost every time. Cunningham fires into the end zone. Nearly picked off.
Ooh, that would have been intercepted. That should have been intercepted. And the fact that the Eagles are getting another shot at this is kind of a crime.
For a second-round pick in 09 out of Missouri, William Moore on the pass deflection. 2nd down, late in the half. Cunningham looks, fires downfield. Quick has got it. And a timeout's called with first down to the 12. From here, this would be a 29-yard field goal after the critical catch by Quick.
You can always just get to the end zone one more time, but it's a pretty gimme field goal here for Akers, so maybe it's a good thing that they hit the field goal there.
David Akers, 4 for 4 on kicks as Mr. Automatic to begin the year. Picked up by Crumpler on the squib clip, and he is down with a second left. You know, Matt Ryan, not known to have a cannon for an arm. We'll see if he can launch it to the end zone, but they'll give him a run at it here with a second left.
Hey, you never know what's going to happen. The Eagles are bunching up at the line of scrimmage. Maybe you'll get a lucky shot.
Ryan to about the 10. It's caught by Jones. A terrific catch, but to no avail. The Eagles are in front on Sunday night. Second half coming up next. Randall Runningham and Philadelphia leads at 9-3 in Atlanta. Nick Rice, Hank Cinnamon on hand, start of the second half as Younghoe Koo sends away the end-over-end Atlanta kickoff. Van Buren from the goal line, smoked at the 23. Philadelphia has to feel encouraged by the way in the fashion they've been able to move the ball pretty consistently. However, Atlanta's down by 6, courtesy of the red zone miscues of this offense. Start of the third quarter, the Eagles 9 and the Falcons 3. Van Buren, who's had a tough season, buried by Brooking for a loss of 5.
Yeah, that second field goal really could have been a touchdown if it appeared that they were really trying to get it into the end zone. It just seemed like they were trying to outsmart themselves there.
Cunningham launches downfield to McDonald, who's been a go-to target a majority of the year. He beats Reeves and Sanders. And, you know, Tommy McDonald, because he played in such an early era of the NFL, gets overlooked. He was one of the greatest receivers of the pre-merger era in the National Football League. Third down, Cunningham will run it again, gets by Jarrett, but is denied. Hall of Famer Claude Humphrey with the tackle.
The Falcons are doing a much better job pinching the line of scrimmage so that Randall Cunningham can't get much further than 1 or 2 yards on those running plays. They're definitely ready for him to start running.
Donnie Bag of Bones Jones and Sanders buried by Slay at the 23. And Atlanta, despite the struggles on offense, they are 77 yards away from the lead as they set up shop on their opening drive of the second half. Turner gets by Bradley to the 30 and is wrapped up a yard away. The tackle made by a host of Eagles tacklers.
Turner was turning the corner right there, turning that page on the Eagles defense for 9 yards.
And Michael the Burner Turner, when he gets in the open field, he isn't just turning the corner, he is running away from the defense. They throw towards Crumpler near Turner's area, gain of 8 and a first down. Now the Atlanta, go ahead.
I can make a joke about how he didn't crumple that ball, crumple his chance to catch that ball, but he got it.
Off the play fake, Ryan looks downfield and launches to the sideline for Jones, and that pass is incomplete.
Yeah, it appeared he did not get both feet down. He caught that ball at the white line. Unfortunate because he was open.
Julio Jones, 5th on the all-time yard per game list. He's one of the greatest receivers in NFL history. Over the middle to Risen, and White makes the stop. It is a 14-yard pass play. The numbers from Ryan a little underwhelming today, but good enough for the first there.
A lot of those yards came on that Hail Mary play that didn't make it to Julio Jones. But he's having a pretty efficient game. He's not making too many mistakes. He's finding the wide open receivers. He's doing a pretty good job.
Former 3rd overall pick in 2008 out of Boston College, and he was a steady hand for over a decade for Atlanta. 2nd down, Ryan guns it. There's Jones, who breaks a tackle. Foot race to the end zone, and Jones is in. 46 yards for the touchdown.
Poor tackling by the Philadelphia Eagles. Having chances to get Julio Jones to the ground. He's a great receiver, but that doesn't mean he can't be tackled. Asante Samuel's a guy who's got to take him to the ground, but that was also something that plagued Asante Samuel throughout his career. He was not a good tackler.
Younghoe Koo hits the go-ahead extra point. You'd think if Brian Dawkins was out there safety instead of Tom Brookshire, maybe he could chase him down before the end zone. Jones, 97 yards on 2 catches. He has been brilliant to begin the season. That catch gives him over 150 yards in just 7 quarters of football to begin the all-time season. An outstanding tackle from Jesse Tuggle, and Philadelphia takes over at the 19.
2 catches for over 90 yards. That's like a Tecmo Super Bowl stat sheet.
Shoot, even more than that, I'd say. Incredible numbers from the likes of Jones. Quick over the middle, and he's got enough for the first down. Randall Runningham's got a Tecmo running numbers too, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Something like over 2,000 rushing yards in a 16-game season. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd like to see how Michael Vick looks in those Tecmo games as well, as quick over the middle gains 19 in the first down.
Oh, he'd probably be somewhere close to that. I feel like Cunningham at the end of his career was a more dynamic passer. Michael Vick was definitely a threat to run the ball and pass the ball, but he always could have done better.
Cunningham across the field, incomplete to Pijos. Cunningham closed his career with 4,900 rushing yards. Michael Vick, despite the suspension and moving to different teams, including Philadelphia, had over 6,100 rushing yards, which is the all-time NFL record. More than Fran Tarkenton, nicknamed the Scrambler, more than Lamar Jackson, more than Cam Newton. The most rushing yards ever, Michael Vick at the quarterback position. He wasn't just good at running, he was the greatest scrambling quarterback, arguably, of all time. On 3rd down, Cunningham looks left, lobs it to McCoy, who's got the first. It's a gain of 3. Grimes makes the stop.
I don't really think that Michael Vick was even considered much of a passer until he came to Philadelphia. With Atlanta, to me, he was really a guy who one look, run, but he did it more early in his career.
Pijos over the middle. He's got the first down. Ken Reeves makes the stop. And that could be the label of Randall Cunningham too, to a certain extent. I'm sure you'd agree that he's a little better of a more polished passer early in his career than Vick, but both were run-first guys as Cunningham slides. 10 carries today for the quarterback, a gain of 5 there.
Well, everybody remembers that one play against the Buffalo Bills where he was running around in the end zone for what felt like 10 seconds and then just chucked the ball deep to Fred Barnett for a touchdown.
Just incredible stuff by that guy as Randall Cunningham. I mean, you know, I remember the 98, 99-yard play. We'll have more on that in a moment. We played 3 quarters and Atlanta leads by 1 on Sunday night. 4th quarter coming up next. Welcome back to Atlanta. It's Sunday Night Football between the 1-0 Eagles and the 0-1 Falcons. The greatest 53 players of both franchises. And for Philadelphia, they have a chance to take the lead here. 3rd down, and Humphrey knocks it down. It's incomplete.
That was a great block by whoever was on the Eagles line, or maybe the running back, allowed Randall Cunningham to get that incomplete pass, because that one could have easily been a sack.
And Akers converts to the good field position. 4 for 4 today, and it's a 12-10 lead. So, Hank, that Cunningham 99-yard play, or was it a little less than that? What was the distance on that touchdown?
I think that was a 90-yard or a 95-yard play, because the longest play from scrimmage in Eagles history was a Ron Jaworski play for like a 99-yard slant for a touchdown.
That's right. Incredible stuff. Cunningham had maybe even a better arm than Michael Vick, and Vick had an incredible arm. You know, it would be fun to have a matchup of Vick against Cunningham today, but Ryan was just a little bit better. Vick was very good, but I think Atlanta feels pleased of having this guy at the controls. After the 1st down completion, they go run with Turner with a gain of 4.
I think that Michael Vick was more of a flashy highlight guy, but Matt Ryan was the kind of guy who, you know, knew the X's and O's, line up under center, could handle his business.
Michael Turner handled his business too in the 2010s. Simmons with the stop. Turner finished runner-up for the 2008 NFL MVP award. That was an incredible feat for a tailback to be in the MVP conversation. That was Turner immediately in Atlanta. Ryan shoots it out of bounds to Jones, incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not Adrian Peterson and you're not LT, or maybe even Sean Alexander, you're not going to win the MVP award. Those guys did it great in those years, and I don't think that Michael Turner is a big enough name to have that honor.
Finishing runner-up isn't half bad. Westbrook to the 24. Philadelphia has the lead with 6:02 to go in the game, despite the struggles this season from Hall of Fame back Steve Van Buren. It's amazing they have yet to get him going in the run game. Van Buren's in the block. Cunningham throws into traffic, and it's incomplete.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the new age running backs are built a certain way. Steve Van Buren back in the late 1940s was definitely not built the same as like a LaShawn McCoy, or even like an Ezekiel Elliott, or a Brian Westbrook, or a Ricky Waters. I know I just added Ezekiel Elliott because Ezekiel Elliott for a long time was a great running back.
That's right. And certainly this guy looks very slender by current era players. A 2-yard gain, and Abraham has dumped Van Buren. 3 and out for Philly, but Donnie Bag of Bones Jones, averaging 47 yards a punt, has a chance to flip the field for Philadelphia. Gets rid of it cleanly. A beautiful punt that's taken by Sanders at the 25. He gets a block, and one of the best return men in the history of the game brings it back 10. The tackle by Troy Vincent.
To me, it's a little bit too early to be playing conservative football. You're only up by 2. You do that when you're having like a comfortable 9-point lead,
which you could have had if the Eagles were able to punch it in for a touchdown to the red zone. William Andrews has enough for the first, a 12-yard gain for a 4-time Pro Bowl fullback out of Auburn, one of the better fullbacks in the history of the game. And he moves the sticks, and now Andrews is sent out with 4:22 to go. White on a jet sweep, buried for a loss by Jerome Brown.
That's one of those situations where you got to be moving north and south. Spending too much time moving east and west is going to get you tackled big time.
Ryan to White. He makes the catch. Let's check out the numbers today for Ryan. 167 yards and a touchdown. Now, When you look on paper, the Falcons as a franchise have just 3 members of the Hall of Fame. The Eagles have 9. One of them is out today, and Brian Dawkins with injury, but still it's a mismatch on paper. Ryan is doing a solid job considering the elements. However, Gonzalez is dumped, and with a little under 3 minutes to go, he's going to lean on the defense. But first, Matthew Bosher in for the punt. Product out of the University of Miami. Bosher sends it downfield. It's a fluttering kick. It bounces to the 5, and it's stopped to the 1-inch line. What a punt. 52 yards for Bosher.
That is super deadly in order to just absolutely pooch punt it into the 1-yard line, or what is it, coffin kick it into the 1-yard line. That's just amazing. That is just stopped right there.
Well, a safety would tie the game at 12, so Philadelphia better be careful. As they have the ball, Jackson is the man in motion. Here's Van Buren, who races out of the end zone. He's wrapped up with a 2. Deion Jones makes the stop.
I don't know if you want to be giving it to Steve Van Buren when you're at the 1-yard line with him not really being able to do much, but here we are.
You've got Weaver and Montgomery, 2 bigger backs. We'll see if they get the call here. No, it's Van Buren again, who squirts through a hole. He's down to the 5. The much maligned Steve Van Buren and that Eagles sputtering running game. They could begin to force Atlanta to timeouts for the first. Here's Van Buren, who crawls to the 11.
He looks like he got it.
What a run as Van Buren.
No, he didn't.
Short. Wow.
Again. Wow.
Inches away, and I agree with you, Hank. It looked like he got it. That was a phenomenal open field stop by Brooking, and the Eagles bring in Jones for the 3rd time. Spiraling punt downfield. Here's Sanders. Brookshire makes a terrific stop, and Atlanta has good field position with 1:45 to go. High drama for Ryan and the Falcons, who have hung in the ball game against the heavily favored Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe not heavily, but they certainly were favored today. First down. Here's Ryan under duress and is taken down for a sack. Reggie White, one of the greatest pass rushers of all time, and the 1987 Defensive Player of the Year with the most sacks that season, with the quarterback takedown. Gonzalez makes amends. 15-yarder to Gonzalez.
Number 2.
Yep, you just want to be able to make sure to get yourself into field goal range in order to make sure you can get that 1-point win.
And Gonzalez does that there, a 31-yard strike to the Hall of Famer. That's a tough break for Philadelphia. Troy Vincent in coverage on 3rd down, and they give up the deep shot to Gonzalez. Atlanta has a precarious position here while they have 1 timeout. On the left hash, they are in field goal range for Koo. Run the ball with Turner, and he crawls to the 13. Timeout for some reason by Philly.
Well, you want to try to conserve some clock, and that's what exactly they're trying to do.
Turner gets the call and is buried at the 12. Timeout Philadelphia. So here we go, Atlanta. What's interesting, you're right, Hank, I didn't see it at the time. If the defense makes the stop here, they can get the ball back with time, even if Koo hits the field goal. So here we go, big 3rd down coming up for Atlanta at the 12. Turner, the run. And that's Maxie Bond who makes the play, and the Falcons will not be able to run out all the clock here.
The problem is the fact that you're not going to have a lot of clock to deal with. If this is a field goal make, you're going to have to go at it really quickly.
Younghoe Koo, from an undrafted free agent to a part-time Charger, and now one of the most efficient kickers in the league. Clock is stopped.
Oh, a false start.
And that
How
gives
do you do
Philly
that?
a lot of time if the field goal is good. Of course, if it's no good, the game is over. Pressure here for the kicker, Younghoe Koo, 35 yards for the lead, and it's a good hold from Vic and a better kick from Koo. 13-12, late in the ball game.
Well, with the Eagles having no timeouts remaining, it'll be very difficult for them, but they just have to get into field goal range. I'd say you could get maybe 3, 4, 5 plays in order to get there.
Yeah, with a guy like Cunningham who can move the offense of the line quickly, Van Buren may have been better off taking a knee. Down to the 18, 29 seconds. You know, do you go for it all here, Hank, or do you try and get the field goal range in chunks?
You got to try to get it in a few chunks. You just can't throw it short. You can't take a sack either.
Cunningham with time, air mails this one downfield, and Quick had his hands on it. Incomplete.
Well, it's not for naught. It's a good try for Randall Cunningham, throwing it deep to Mike Quick, a guy who he trusted last week.
And he made a couple big plays earlier. Outcut. Here's Carmichael, who stays in bounds, wrapped up by Sanders, and the clock is moving. A 19-yard play, but Philadelphia is going to have to clock the ball, and they do with 7 seconds.
Yeah, you got to go out of bounds because now you have 7 seconds, and you have to throw a Hail Mary. You don't have a choice.
Well, the Eagles defended the Hail Mary last week in the win against the Rams. Same situation for them. Cunningham got hit, incomplete. Tough way to lose it for Philadelphia. Our final score in Atlanta, 13-12. Let's check out today's player of the game and credit the performance tonight of Grady Jarrett. 3 sacks in the win for Atlanta. Hank, final thoughts?
Could have been Julio Jones, who came up real clutch on that touchdown drive for the Falcons. Matt Ryan didn't make any mistakes, and that's how the cookie crumbles.
Atlanta wins it on Sunday night, 13-12. Complete Week 2 coverage of the All-Time Rosters franchise coming up this weekend. This is the All-Time Rosters franchise with Charger Dude 95.